So let's start. We're in key of C. Let's start with C minor, maybe. Minor keys are more beautiful. Then we have this to start with. A little counterpoint going on in the lower voice of the right hand. Let's try this again. Now, what would be the most likely chord to happen after the tonic? Because we're in C minor, we started with a tonic. Well, in 99% of the cases in classical music, a tonic chord is followed by a dominant chord. Not surprisingly. So, and then back to tonic. 1-5-1 is actually the most common progression in classical music. So we're going to do that, but with the pedal note in the left hand, which will be C. So we'll be playing it over the tonic pedal. Let's see what happens now. So what we did here, with that sort of like a dominant sound over the pedal tonic, but well, in fact we did a diminished 7 chord, or 7 diminished 7, if it's supposed to have 4 notes in there. So it's a 7 diminished 7 chord, which is like an extension of the dominant chord. If you put all the extension on it, including that flat 9 here, right? We can use these chords almost interchangeably. That's why 7th diminished 7 chord, or simply 7th diminished chord, has that surge going up to 1. That leading tone in its bass makes it want to go up. Or if we're dealing with just dominant in the first inversion, then we will have this instead of this, or this. And this is exactly what we're doing here. So let's review again. Nice and smooth in the lower voice of right hand. And now, well, we could return to 1 chord, which would be logical. Now, how do we prolong that progression for just a little bit longer to create some suspense? Well, 1 chord that we haven't traveled to yet is a 4 chord in that key, which would be F minor. So how do we create some kind of a harmonic surge to go to the 4 chord? Well, simply by putting a dominant chord right before it. So let's try that. It could be a major 6/4. Okay, so we used 5/4 in order to prolong that progression and get us to minor 4th. We're doing it over the pedal. Now, another prolongation possible here is use of another passing chromatic In this case, it's going to be 7 diminished of 5. So now we have this. Or if we use 7 diminished 7, this. Now I'm going to try to play a funky scale over this and see what how I can maneuver. The same figure as I used initially, right? Recycling is always good. Well, little octatonic scales wouldn't hurt. So let's go back and review our chords. C minor, our 7 diminished 7 with a pedal, C7, and dominant 6/4. Now, I can prolong that dominant by simply using something called standing on a dominant, fancy word in classical music. So you can see how I maneuvered from minor to major. You can do it interchangeably, however you want. What's important is reusing that same idea of the counterpoint, which happened initially. Right? Last chord and minor 4 chord, I've taken the liberty of exchanging my E flat for E natural, which would give this chord a melodic minor kind of a flavor. A lot of romantic music would have this kind of passing note enclosure. That's where it comes from. Now, let's go back to our standing on the dominant thing. We're using the same counterpoint. Now, we're using that chord, which we just discussed, over the pedal G. So we're basically putting 7 diminished 7 of 5 over the 5 pedal in C minor. Wow, a lot of words. 7 diminished 7 of 5 over pedal. We're creating suspension. So we want to prolong that. We don't want to go so fast. We don't want to finish the show so fast. We want the show to go on. And that's how we do this. So as you can see, using diminished chords, it's a way of prolonging harmonies, extending them, as in doing this. minor somehow, right? So the same thing. We can practice that same thing, right? Remembering that now we're gonna try to do that 7 diminished 7 of 5 in A minor, right? Thanks for watching. See you next time.